So let's just call it like it is. All right? Let's just call it like it is. Halloween is demonic. Halloween is not a holiday. It's not even something that God's people should be celebrating. You think of the traditions and the festivals and the decorations of Halloween, the costumes, the dressing up, right? The festivities of it. You think of that, and you just think how evil and wicked all this stuff looks. The pumpkins, the lights, the decorations, all the costumes. You see how devilish these things look. Now, I used to celebrate Halloween when I was a kid. Used to go trick-or-treating. Used to dress up as SpongeBob back in the day. Used to dress up as my favorite anime character, you know, superhero Marvel character, such and such, right? I just want to go trick-or-treating for the candy. I didn't really care per se to dress up. I just cared to get some candy, get my Kit Kats and my Reese's and all that, and call it a night, right? But here in this biblical discussion, because I'm going to include scriptures, Bible verses into this talk, you guys need to know the truth about Halloween. It is demonic. You see, many people believe that Halloween is a Christian holiday. They believe that it is a holiday for the children of Israel. That us black folks and God's children should be celebrating this day, right? But it is in fact rooted in pagan and satanic worship. It's rooted in pagan and satanic worship. You see, Halloween was originally called All Hallows Evening. Okay? The day before All Saints Day. You see, Halloween is actually associated with worshiping Satan. It's associated with worshiping the devil, the Lord of the dead. So basically, ancient Ireland, the Celts, they take part in celebrating the dead, harvesting souls, dead souls, spirits. And that goes against the Lord. That goes against the Messiah, worshiping the dead. And it says Halloween was originated around 2,000 years ago by the Celts who lived in Ireland, Great Britain, and France. The Celtics had an elite intellectual group known as the Druids, who served as satanic priests. Amongst all the religious festivals, the greatest was the fire festival called Samhain, named after their fire god, Samhain. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing the word right. Maybe Samhain, I don't know. Maybe y'all can correct me or something. Samhain. I'm going to pronounce this Samhain. Okay, the Lord of the Dead. So it marks the end of the old year, October 31st and November 1st, the beginning of the Celtic New Year. The Druids believed that Samhain gathered all the souls of those who had died in the past year. So these souls were confined to bodies of animals to atone for their sins. And these animals were then sacrificed on Halloween. Now, if you think about Halloween, a lot of children wound up missing a lot of the times around this season. And for you guys that don't know, children, as much as animals, are also used as sacrifice. And they are part of these satanic rituals. And this is what takes place around Halloween. So the witches, right, they consider Halloween as the most important day of the year because they believe the veil between the two worlds of the living and the dead is at its thinnest point. The witches find communicating with the dead easiest on Halloween. They find that communicating with the dead is easiest on Halloween because they believe the souls of the dead come to the land of the living. And this is blasphemy. This is basically blasphemous to bring the dead back to the living. Once the dead is dead, they stay dead. Their soul lives on. Right? You can't bring something back to the living. That is an abomination. And we think of Halloween that's associated with other traditions, rituals, right? Such as wearing demonic costumes, where people dress up as ghosts or demons to scare the evil spirits away, right? But here's what I think about costumes, y'all. What I think about costumes is I think of different spirits. I think of different various spirits that you can harvest and channel in, right? They have so many costumes that look wicked and evil, right? Your favorite horror movie character, right? You think of Scream, Michael Myers, JC, Freddy, right? Chainsaw Massacre, all those, Chucky, all the horror movies legends, right? All the horror movie characters. I don't look at that as costumes. You understand? I look at those costumes as spirits, demonic spirits that you can harvest and channel, right? When you put on that costume, what you're doing is you are channeling in the spirit of these horror characters, right? These horror characters. You're channeling in their spirit. And you're basically bringing them to life. People carving out pumpkins and turnips. They light those up. Kids go door to door to collect candy. Which, by the way, going from door to door, your children should not be doing that. Because anything can happen in the dark. I don't think it's safe for your children to be going to a stranger's home and getting candy. God only knows what type of poison these people are putting into the candy when they're serving it to the children when they come to their house. You never know. You're sending your child to some stranger's house at dark for some candy. That to me is suspect. And it doesn't surprise me that a lot of kids go missing around this holiday. They just wound up missing. So, it's all about occult practice and demonic worship. That's what Halloween represents. Demonic worship and occult practice. Apart from Satanists and witches that celebrate Halloween, the rest of the general public that celebrate it have no knowledge of the wickedness of Halloween. Children are naive. They have no wickedness in their hearts. They don't know any better, but their parents do, right? But their parents are not going to teach their kids any better. They're not going to tell them the truth. They celebrate it just so that they can collect candies and play tricks and have some fun. Adults celebrate it just as a holiday, and most people just do stuff because everybody else seems to be doing it. While there are others that remember their dead relatives during Halloween, some vandalizers may look at Halloween as their opportunity to get even with others, right? Which is mischief, right? What's before Halloween? Mischief night. And during mischief night, people are very freaky and very cuckoo and nuts in the head, a little bit out there on that night, because they're looking to be on demon time on mischief night. And the Christians, they have different views about Halloween. Personally, I don't consider myself a Christian. I am just a strong believer, a devout believer in the Most High. Read my Bible. I do my best to follow the instructions of the Most High. But I do not consider myself a Christian at all. But I think Christians are a bit confused about the origins of Halloween, and they don't really know the truth of what it really represents. And a lot of Christians are not in the truth. Unfortunately not. A lot of Christians will compromise in any situation, right? They'll compromise their faith. And that only proves that they are unfaithful. And a Christian should never ever compromise with the devil. So when you see a Christian celebrating Halloween, it's a Christian celebrating death, darkness, wickedness, and evil. Let me read you guys Ephesians 5:11. It says, "Take no part in the unfruitful works of darkness, but instead expose them." Well, that's what these Christians are doing when they celebrate Halloween. And they're taking part in the festivities. They are taking part in unfruitful works of darkness. And some Christians think they must sit on their front porch on Halloween and hand out candy so that their neighbors will think they are generous and take this as an opportunity to, evangelize them. But, we cannot evangelize others by taking part in anything wicked. You have to understand that evil and good don't go together. Darkness and light don't belong together. So if we pretend we are the same as the world, whom are we fooling? Who are we fooling? The neighbors or the demons? Besides, we're not supposed to be taking part in anything that is unfruitful of darkness. It's almost it's almost being a hypocrite, right? It's almost like being a hypocrite. You try to portray yourself as holier than thou and be this believer in the Most High. Go to your church, read your Bible, but you take part in things that represent evil, that go against the Most High, that are an abomination to Christ, and you take part in those things. That would definitely make you a hypocrite and a fake Christian, a fake believer. Let's keep going. And some Christians, they know the evil of Halloween, but are concerned that their children should not be felt left out. They feel as though their children should not be left out on Halloween, and so they celebrate it anyway, just so their child is not left out. But let's think about it though. Celebrating something that is evil in a good way, right? In a Christianized way. That's how they want to sum it up, right? Justify. Celebrating something evil in a good way does not make it less evil. Your kids may not remember or care whether they dress up like angels or as demons. All they remember is they had fun celebrating Halloween. Right? They still remember the festivities, the parades, the costumes, what they wore. But your job as a parent is to educate your child. It says, do not love the world. John chapter 1, verse 2:15. Do not love the world or anything in the world. If anyone loves the world, love for the Father is not in them. So your children may feel left out and deprived from having fun, but that's all right. Because, right, once again, you are to train your children not to have pleasure in anything that's evil and wicked. Tell them the truth. Tell them the truth about Halloween. Right? Be cautious, though, not to lead them into fear, but let them know that we are called to live a life pleasing to God and depart from all that is evil. Proverbs 22:6 says, direct your children onto the right path, and when they are older, they will not leave it. You have to set a right foundation for your children to go off of. And once they have that foundation and rooted in the Father, they may never leave it. You understand? So some Christians think that Halloween is, nothing but a man-made tradition. And they believe it's totally harmless. They think There's nothing evil or wicked about it. Y'all need to understand that Satan is real, and all the wickedness that goes around at this time of year, it's real. There was a Halloween festival I believe in this place called Seoul. I believe it's spelled Seoul. If you take the E out, you get Seoul, right? 149 casualties. And this was in I believe Korea, if I'm not mistaken. I have to look that up and read upon that. But this took place around Halloween. 149 casualties. And it was definitely a harvest of souls taking place. The demons were hungry. The demons were out for blood. And it only takes one person to mess up an entire party. Right? It takes one person. That's all it takes for everything to go down south. So this pagan holiday, it's rooted in fear. It's rooted in death and the occult and worshiping the dead. The truth is, I don't care what you think. I don't care what you have to say. If you disagree, you're right. If you don't agree, I don't care. Halloween is satanic and demonic. And Christians should not take any part in it. If you are a Christian, if you happen to stumble upon this video, just know this is a satanic pagan holiday. This is an abomination against the Most High, Yahshua, and Jesus Christ. You go to chapter 1 of Corinthians, verse 10 through 21. You cannot drink the cup of the Lord and the cup of demons. You cannot partake of the table of the Lord and the table of demons. So basically what that verse is, you have to make a choice. You are to make a decision in which God you serve. You cannot serve two gods. This is a message to you Christians that want to serve two gods. This is a message to you Christians that want to have your cake and eat it too. You can either drink at the table of the Lord or at the table of the demons. You pick. So, when it comes down to this time of year, Halloween, it involves all sorts of abomination, satanic worship, and occult practices. It's dangerous for any Christian, especially children. You're grooming your child to believe that it is okay to celebrate anything that is evil. Let me ask y'all a question, a serious question, especially for you parents. Would you give your child a poisonous serpent or firearms to play and have fun with? Would you give them a poisonous serpent or firearms to play and have fun with? Nevertheless, Many people encourage their children to celebrate Halloween every year, exposing them to demons and evil spirits. And this is one verse that you guys need to take out of your Bible and read, and really absorb the words that are being said in this verse in Deuteronomy chapter 18, verse 9 through 14. When you come into the land that the Lord your God is giving you, you shall not learn to follow the abominable, let me get this right, the abominable practices of those nations. There shall not be found among you anyone who burns his son or his daughter as an offering. Anyone who practices divination or tells fortunes or interprets omens, or a sorcerer or a charmer or a medium or a wizard, or anyone that inquires of the dead. For whoever does these things is an abomination to the Lord thy God. And because of these abominations, the Lord your God is driving them out before you. You shall be blameless before the Lord your God.